Hi, thanks for joining me today. We're going to do a short flow to focus a little bit on our shoulders and our hips. These are places that we have a tendency to hold a lot of tension and tightness. And this flow is going to be one, it's going to be fairly short that you can repeat to make it a longer practice for you. But again, we're going to focus a little bit on releasing some tightness and tension in the shoulders and building both a little movement, mobility, and strength, stability in the hips. So we'll start in a mountain pose. The only thing I would suggest that you have is either a pair of yoga blocks or a small stool or chair. We're going to be using those in our flow sequence in and out of a lunge. So in your mountain pose, feet hip distance apart, you can lift all the toes up off the mat, spread the toes, place them back down. Think of lifting the inner arch of the foot and the kneecaps and the sternum, so we feel all this energy coming up from the earth, energy up through the crown of the head. Let the arms rest down by your side, palms facing forward. So think of already nice wide collarbones, so we kind of get out of this tech slump that we get in when we look at our phones and our computers all the time. So just take a few moments here. You can close the eyes if you'd like and just notice how your body feels, how you're making connection with the earth. Begin to notice your breathing. Our breath is the most important part of our yoga practice. We always want to have that steady, even flow of inhales and exhales. So just check in with your breathing and begin to take deeper inhales and longer exhales. And then very gently begin to let the eyes open, again keeping that awareness with the breath. As we inhale, we'll float the arms all the way up and overhead, reaching through the fingertips. And then as you exhale, turn the palms down, float the arms back down by your side. So a couple rounds, just the sun breaths of simple movement. Inhale, arms floating all the way up and overhead. Notice sensation in your shoulders as you do this. Exhale, the arms float back down. Go one more time like that. Inhale, arms float all the way up and overhead. And exhale, the arms float down. So now bring the fingertips to the tops of the shoulders. And we're going to inhale, let the knees be a little soft. Inhale, bring the elbows forward, round the spine a little bit, elbows towards each other. And then as you continue that inhale, bring the elbows all the way up and overhead, lift the heart and the sternum. And then as you exhale again, bend the knees, bring the elbows a little forward. So we're going through a little bit of cat and cow here movements, very subtle with the pelvis and with the spine. So exhale, round a little forward, let the elbows come towards each other, and then think of tracing a big circle with the elbows, lifting the heart and the sternum. Go a couple more times around, inhaling and exhaling. Just feeling that movement up and down the spine, and again, that movement through the shoulders. And then this time, as you come all the way up and overhead, release the arms up and overhead, and as you release the arms down, bring the hands behind you. Interlace the fingers. So a couple options here. You can interlace the fingers with the palms together. You can interlace the fingers with the hands squared off a little bit if that feels better for your wrists, or even take hold of opposite elbows. So all choices there. But think of shoulder blades drawing towards the spine. And even here, thinking of the lowest ribs, imagine the lowest ribs reaching down towards the hips. So we're keeping the core muscles engaged. So we get this nice stretch through the chest. And then inhale, arms release, float the arms all the way up and overhead. Bring the palms again together, this time overhead. Press up through the palms. Shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. Inhaling, exhale, release the shoulders, release the arms, let the arms float down by your side. Good, so just a little warm up for the shoulders. So now come to the front of your mat. And if you have your blocks, just place those blocks one off to either side so they're easily accessible. If you're using a small stool or chair, have that right in front of you so that you can reach and slide it forward as you need it. So find that mountain pose once again. And then inhale, arms float all the way up and overhead. palms together. As you exhale this time, bend the knees and bring the hands right down the center of the body, fold all the way down, standing forward bend. Inhale, come halfway up, nice length through the crown of the head. So establish this first, nice length in the spine, crown of the head reaching forward, tailbone reaching back. Bring the fingertips behind you like airplane arms, palms facing down. Again, shoulder blades drawing towards the spine. Really feel those tricep muscles in the back of the upper arm engaged. Inhale and exhale. And then bend the knees, fold all the way down, that standing forward bend once again. And then take your hands to your blocks, or if you have that small stool or chair, bring it right in front of you. And then take a big step back with the right leg. So we're going to come into a lunge, press back through the heel. Nice length through the crown of the head. You can roll a little forward across the toes of that back foot. Just make sure that your heel and your knee of this front leg are staying in relative alignment. So we don't want the knee shooting way in front of the ankle. So just get that alignment, the knee over top of the heel. And then press back through the right heel. Release the knee down and curl the toes. And we're going to have our lunge here fairly narrow front to back. So I'm going to keep thinking of those hips square forward. Think of the right angle in the front leg and a little bit more straightness in that back leg. And then floating the arms forward, up and back. Shoulders release away from the ears. And then bend the elbows, take a little cactus pose here, draw the shoulder blades together, maybe take the gaze up if that feels okay for you, and then extend those arms back, almost like that airplane wings, a little wider this time, and then option to bring the hands, again, same thing, interlacing the fingers, palms together, or square off the palms, or hold on to opposite elbows. So getting that nice opening through the front of the body and that strength and stability and mobility in the hips, and then releasing the hands forward. So now we're going to take our blocks or our chair, if you're using a chair, bring them a little forward, step that foot a little forward, and then walk them a little back and take a little bit of a variation of a runner's lunge. So we want to kind of check that alignment again. We don't want to come back so far back that we're closing the angle of this back leg. So think of a little bit more that knee right underneath the hip. Getting that stretch in that hamstring of that front leg. You do not have to straighten that leg all the way. Keep it a little bent if you need. Inhale and exhale. And then let's bring that left foot back to the mat. Move your blocks out of the way or your stool out of the way. Hands to the mat, curl the back toes under, lift the back knees, step back to downward facing dog. So we started a little narrower stance. So you might have to walk the hands a little forward or the feet a little back to get that nice length in your spine. You can have the knees bent, or you can pedal through the feet or the legs straight. Make sure your hands are at least shoulders distance apart and the feet are hip distance apart. Find your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And then looking towards the hands, we're going to transition back to that standing forward bend. So option, a little bit more weight in the left heel. Inhale, lift the right leg up. Step the right leg up beside or behind that right hand. Bring the left foot up to meet the right. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, bend the knees, fold all the way down. Again, standing forward bend, then float the arms out of the side, come all the way up. Bring the palms together. Bring the hands to the heart. Pause here for a moment, reconnect with your breath. Inhale and exhale. So we're going to do that same little sequence, second side, second lunge variation. So inhale, arms float all the way up. Palms together, exhale the hands to the heart, bending the knees, fold all the way down. Inhale, halfway up. Again, find those airplane arms, extend the arms back, palms facing down, shoulder blades reaching towards the spine, energy in those upper arms. Inhale and exhale, and then bend the knees, both hands down, find your blocks. Now we're going to step back with the left leg. So left leg's going to step back to that lunge, lower the left knee down and curl the toes. So again, think of this alignment. Actually, let's do that little roll across the back of the toes or across the sole of that left foot first. Good. Don't want to leave that out. Our feel-good part for that back, that left foot and ankle. and then pressing back through the left heel. Now release the left knee down and curl the toes. So as you come up to your lunge, again, think of the alignment, heel underneath the knee, and this back leg, again, a little bit more perpendicular than we might have if we were in a little deeper lunge. The hips are aiming towards the front of the mat. And then we're going to float the arms again up and overhead. Inhale. And exhale. So think of hugging everything in towards the midline. We're hugging those inner thighs towards each other. We're thinking of the lowest ribs and the hips coming towards each other, engaging our core. Inhaling and exhaling. And then bring those arms again to that cactus pose. So we're starting to open up a little bit through the front of the chest, asking the shoulders to do a little work in the back. Inhale and exhale, and then straighten those arms. Again, palms are facing forward. We're drawing the shoulder blades together. Maybe the gaze a little up. And then bring the hands behind you. Interlace the fingers, opposite thumb on top this time. And again, either pressing the palms together or squaring off the wrist or holding onto opposite elbows. Inhale and exhale. And then releasing the hands again, float the arms all the way up and overhead. Both hands down to the mat. Again, just moving your props out of the way. Curl the back toes under, lift the back knee. Once again, step back to that downward facing dog, adjusting hands and feet. Shoulders distance apart for the hands, hip distance apart for the feet. Maybe again, walking the hands a little forward or the feet a little back to make a little bit more length for the spine. Make sure you're breathing, and again, maybe a little pedaling of the feet here. Or maybe keeping the knees bent, really focusing on that length in the lower back. And then a little bit more weight in the right heel. Inhale, lift the left leg up, look towards the hands, step the left foot up behind that left hand, or right foot up behind the right hand, back to that standing forward bend. Inhale, halfway up, nice length through the crown of the head. Exhale, bend the knees, fold all the way down, press into the feet, float the arms out to the side, coming all the way up. Bring the palms together. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart. Maybe close the eyes again here for a moment. Inhale and exhale. Just reconnect with your body, your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And very gently let the eyes open. So thank you so much for joining me today. Again, short sequence. We balanced it out. We did the same flow on either side. You can repeat that. You can repeat it a little bit more quickly, moving in and out of each posture with your breath. You know, inhaling into the lunge, exhaling back to that runner's stretch for the hamstring, inhale back into the lunge in your downward facing dog. So again, you can pick up the pace a little bit or do it nice and slow, helps to build a little bit more strength and stability with that slow movement through the postures. So again, thanks for joining me today. Please check out information in the information below about Grey Horse Yoga and the classes that I offer. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I hope to see you sometime soon in the saddle or on the mat. Bye-bye.